Hi, good night, everybody. I hope you guys are doing good. Can you all hear me okay? Is everyone hearing me? Just let me know so we can get started tonight. It's gonna be a very, very interesting night. Just let me know in the chat if you're hearing me. Okay, great. Thanks, Ayana. Okay, so welcome everybody. Welcome to tonight. Um, as you guys should know, tonight we're doing something a little different. We have a panel of men and we are going to be asking them questions, okay? And so far we have some very, very interesting questions. And we're going to get to that. So let me do just a couple of the normal house rules that we usually do, and then I'll get into it, okay? So we want to encourage you that you can invite a friend. Feel free to reach out to somebody. They might be going through something in their relationship. They might be trying to understand their significant other. We're going to be talking about all that tonight. So share the link, invite somebody tonight. Don't let them miss out. This session is brought to you by the Women's Freedom Foundation in collaboration with Her Grace, and the Women's Freedom Foundation is a support group focused on helping women of all backgrounds to become the best version of themselves. And Her Grace is a blog by pastor and influencer Onika Narayan. Onika usually does these Monday night calls, and we still have her with us. But tonight we are going to try to not give you all any advice, right? We want all the advice to come from the men. So we will make comments, but we'll mostly ask questions because we don't want to give any input. We want all the advice to come from the men, right? We have some really powerful men. I'll introduce them in a bit. Right, so this call is for women only. If you're a man, please watch from YouTube. The reason we say that is because we want the questions to come from women and we want the input to be from women because it's for women. So if you're a man and you want to watch, you can feel free to head over to YouTube. Um, we reserve the right to remove anybody who we think is being disruptive, out of timing. So please note that. We are recording and streaming to YouTube. So please note that if you have something private you want to share, maybe change your name, do something, right? You can do things like that on Zoom. And let's see. If you are new, if this is your first time, let us know in the chat. We really want to know. We want to welcome you. If this is your first time, we're really happy. And invite a friend, right? Don't forget to invite a friend. So I'd like if the people on our panel could please turn on their cameras. We have a few men with us and we also have Onika. I pinned them, so if you guys have a screen, you could pin them to your screen so that you could see everybody at the same time. Right, so we have Philip. So welcome. Philip is going to be sharing some stuff tonight. Philip is a single man of God, ladies. So if you guys are wondering if good men still exist, look one right here. And we also have Kyle, and Kyle is my very good friend. And he has counseled me through many, many things, and he has real wisdom, and he's gonna give you all the real wisdom tonight, right? Chris, you there? Chris Emil, I don't know if
Yeah.
Hi,
I'm
Chris.
here. Hi.
Okay, would you be turning on your camera tonight?
Yeah, I was told I have to do so I will do it. Sure.
Okay, great. It's nice, nice to know that you're submitting to the woman tonight.
That's interesting.
Right, and you guys can unmute because it's gonna be like kind of like a discussion. I mean, we won't talk over each other, but it will be a bit of a discussion, right? And we have some very challenging questions, very, very challenging questions tonight. I would not like to be y'all, honestly. It's a lot of questions too, right? So we don't want to stay too long on any one question. Ladies, you guys feel free to post your question in the chat. I got some questions in advance, but if you have a question, post it in the chat and I will take note of it. All right, I'll do my best to take note of it. And if I don't take note of it, somebody, I'm sure Crystal or Serrano or Onika would alert me, right? That the question is there in the chat. So, you're making all that noise. Okay. Yeah, all right. So we have Chris. Chris is married, by the way, for maybe 20 something years. Chris, you want to tell us?
It's not 20 something years yet. Good night, everyone. You know, it's great that you all young ladies on the stream tonight. And it's only 17 years. It's not 20 something years, but
Okay, okay.
you'll
Okay,
get
that's it. And Kyle is engaged, and like I said, Philip is single. Okay, so I'm gonna start with yes, good night, Onika. You wanna tell us good night?
No, I'm looking for Chris, but I'm not seeing him. Is his camera on?
His camera is not on.
His camera is on.
Okay, it's on now. Good.
Oh.
Okay,
Oh,
good. Neeks, you wanna tell everybody good night?
Good night, ladies. I am just as excited as you are to have these questions answered. And we have a very distinguished panel here, so I'm looking forward. I have some questions too. So I'm looking forward. I'm with you all tonight. I'm with you.
Neeks, when I read the questions, I was like, I have these questions too.
Yeah,
So we'll start easy. We'll start easy, but some of these questions are fire, right? So the first question we will do easy. Let me tell you what it is. What qualities do you look for in a woman? So maybe everybody could just say two things because we won't stay here long. Everybody say two things. You could expand a little bit, but maybe what, and Chris, you are married. So you have to tell us what we should be looking, what a man should be looking for. But this is not a men's club. Anyhow, you'll answer. Go ahead, Chris. And then Kyle, and then Philip, yeah.
All right, I'm going first.
Yeah.
All right. Again, good night, everyone. The qualities, what are the qualities a man looks for in a woman? Well, I look for in a woman. One of the first things I'll say is this. You had to be in love with the person. There's things that you want somebody who's caring. You want somebody who's loving. You want somebody to support, somebody who's respectful, right? You know, these are the common things, right, guys? Respect, somebody who respects you, who loves you, who's there to help. You know, literally there to help out now. And not just be a help, but be a part of your life, and somebody who's actually interested in you, right? And is actually in love with you. Somebody who really, I would say somebody who really has that fire and say, you know what, boy, I really, really will give this man my all. You know, in spite of things, I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect, but you know, I would want somebody who's really passionate about, you know, the things of God and myself.
Chris. So, Kyle, I want you to add to that. Don't repeat anything he said. Add to it.
I'll say for me personally, I say two things, right? So I don't necessarily think it added to him, but I think, well, respect is a common thing. Obviously, somebody who not necessarily respectful to you alone, but also carry themselves like that. You know, somebody who, you know, is not seen as somebody like disrespectful, like with their boss. And in general, you know, and obviously I'll feel a little more comforted because obviously when you're getting to know somebody, they show you a nice side. So if somebody is generally like a respectful person, at least they can see it in other attributes of their life. And then I would say somebody who's kind and caring. That is maybe two things I would into one. I would say that is a nice quality. You know, somebody who's not very rowdy. Somebody who like to enjoy themselves, obviously, but not somebody who real rowdy and them kind of things. That's not necessarily something for me personally. You know.
What is rowdy? I would like to know what is rowdy.
We will continue down in the next show, but
no.
I'm just joking.
Questions. Women they might say, well, maybe he mean because I laugh loud, I'm rowdy, or maybe
not talking about that. Not talking about that. Somebody who like maybe, well, maybe it's not rowdy, it's like maybe real confusion kind of vibes, kind of like.
Okay.
Yeah, that kind of like back and I'll just follow them, and you know that kind of that's something I think. Yeah, that's not a quality I look for. But yeah.
Okay, great. Philip, as our single resident, what are two things you're looking for?
I get it. I know a lot of people want to hear this. For me, I would say, well, I will go down in the same lines with the next two, right? But I wouldn't use that one. I would say somebody, I use submissive, But when I say that, I mean, yes, respectful, not just to me, to others, and who hold people in honor. You know, I like people like that who, you know, you can actually just see them always trying to build somebody up. I think that is like a very beautiful quality. You know what I mean? Also like to have like someone I could see as a partner. When I say as a partner, I mean, I believe I have a lot of shortcomings, right? So when I think of somebody coming in my space, I want somebody who could actually work with me and I could work with. So yeah, that kind of spirit where you like teamwork and we could work on this thing half and half. Also somebody with a nice smile, you know, somebody who loves to smile. Light up
Like
the air.
a real man tonight who talking about the physical and like that. I like that.
Yeah,
We
but
have
of
questions
course,
about that. Don't worry, we come into that.
I don't think the question was
Yeah,
based on
the
physical.
the
Go
other
ahead.
two- the other two didn't mention anything about the physical now. Like that's nothing.
I don't think
gonna
that was
come
the
up.
question too. I don't think that was the question, though, but go ahead.
hey, but that's my answer, Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's three.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Philip. So that was a real nice, easy question. And now we go into the hard things, right? Because that was the only easy question on the list. Let me read this out and you all will decide who's gonna answer this, right? Why do men lead women on when they know they are not interested? It hurts a lot. That is what somebody said. I would like somebody to answer that. Take it away, guys.
I wonder why girls just do that too, but maybe Philip, you want to do that? Maybe I know Philip want to take with that question first.
Well, I would say that is more or less simple, a simple answer. Men lead on because simply they want something, right? Everybody has an objective, right? If I am trying to get with somebody, there is a reason. Whether it's love, if it's not love, there is a reason. So I would say simply the reason we do it is because we have an objective. It may just be sex, but that is the reason, right? There is no other way, right? Because if it's not for love, let's be real, it's for sex. So that's the reason men lead on.
Is the question get Celeste like maybe like without an outcome?
Yeah,
Like, and
so
that's
the person is saying, basically, I guess somebody acting interested, but when you get to the core, they're not interested.
I think
Yeah,
I think sometimes attention, but also men like I guess men and I think both people suffer with this too. Like they like to still feel that how to say, not necessarily needed, but they like that little spark it is give and the attention that comes with it, where they feel, well, this person like, but it doesn't necessarily mean they want to carry on the relationship, but they like to know it have somebody there who are a little interested and, you know, a little face in that kind of way. Generally, that is why sometimes men might like string along a woman and maybe use her at times emotionally or things like that as well. But it's not necessary. Men not necessary in that kind of way. But yeah, somebody say the thrill or the hunt. Yeah, some men have a little insecurity sometimes, you know, where they feel they wonder if it is they still have it. They still good look. It have many different reasons why some men do it. It's different, I guess, for the individual, but there's some common reasons some men do it. I know if Chris wanna add anything.
Yeah, well, I agree with what you say. There are some men just like the idea of having to pursue somebody and say, hey, I get through with this person, you know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I was like that when I was younger, guys. You know, I'm no longer like that.
What is going on here?
My life changed.
What is going on?
Sarana, you're unmuted.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was actually going to sell him out and that Chris was like that, leading on people culture and.
Oh, did Chris tell us?
Guys, I just used to be unreal. I used to just do it for the fun of it. It's wrong, you know, but there was never really much interest. And I would just go around and see if it get current from this person. And it have a big part to do with your ego, you know, and, you know, it's very wrong, very, very wrong. It was very wrong of me. You know, I've changed. That's not me anymore, you know. I hurt a lot of people's feelings for that. And it's not something I'm not proud about it.
Forgive him, ladies. Y'all forgive him. He has changed, thank God.
Years ago, this is many
sounds like insecurity, could very well be.
And it's
Yeah,
also
sometimes it could be an insecurity
exactly, it's also insecurity as well. It's very true, you know.
because
But,
that's not something that single men alone do. Actually, married men do that as well. They would flirt with a girl. They get they get like that little attention, and they just want a little, a little
attention.
assurance. They must still have it or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna
women
make
do it too. Women
Yeah.
do it too. Yeah.
you like, oh, but according to Kyle, I still have it. You know,
Yeah.
you can handle the stories. You could get this one, you could get that one. But Israel is so wrong. It's not funny. You know what I mean? It's so wrong. It's not funny. You
Yeah.
know?
Okay, so part 2 to that question, somebody asked, so how do you know if a man really cares about you? So I know that is kind of a broad question, but you guys could probably tell me what comes to mind at first. Like, how do you know if a man really cares about you in a relationship, I guess? Or
I would say how you know that it takes time. That takes some time. That's not something you can figure out like within a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month. You know, it takes time. And also you would see if how the man in you, right? The things he would do, the things he would say, you know, how he would present it to people, you know, things like that. Those are big good points. You could actually see when a guy wants to really have a show you off and say, hey, wouldn't you see a man take a woman to his mother and say, Mom, this is the person I'm interested in, and he brings the person to the family and stuff. That's a big sign that this man is really interested. Most of the time. Now, unfortunately, there's some fellas that they're very, very skillful in the gifts, which is so wrong, that they could even do all that and they don't know. So the real thing is time. Time tells you everything. So in time, you will see the true colors of somebody. Because most relationships start off good, right? They start off great. Most things start off great. But when enough time passes, that's when you see the true colors and the true personality of the person coming out. You know, and different circumstances, how they react when they get them vexed. Like how a man is going to react if the woman get him vexed. What I want to do, what I will tell, what I will see. And I mean, all these things can tell every person is really interested and really has a real serious liking to the person, you know, or even in love with them. You know, there's certain things you may not do, but sometimes you'll get angry and emotions could stir and words will come out. But somehow you always find an apology coming right after. You will find some kind of apology. You know what? I told you something there and that was wrong. You know, and I want to apologize. See, when a man said I apologize to you and tell you it was wrong, it's a great sign. It's a great, great sign. That's what I would say. You know, there's other things. You know, Oliver.
I just maybe add one. I think sex is one of them. If a man, I mean, I know I'm a believer, but I wasn't a believer once, right? And I know one of the biggest goals for men in the early stages is sex. You know, women look for different things. Men looking to figure out when it comes to sex. That's one of their ultimate goals in the beginning. And I think if a man is real pressuring in the beginning for sex, I think that's a first sign you should know he doesn't really care about you. He's not really invested so much in you. He's really more invested in what he can get in your relationship. And that is actually one key thing I would encourage all you women out there to really guard yourself in that era, because once that happens, you expose yourself to everything that comes after in the relationship, and you don't get to really get to know the person, and a lot of drama comes out of it. So I encourage every woman every woman listening right now, right? If you really want to know if a man really care about you in the beginning stages, especially, well, for some time in the relationship, is to hold back on physical intimacy in that kind of way. And see if you're really interested in you. See if it is you with all the things, because men, like Chris said, right, men would put on a game for a long while, or for some time, let's say for 3 months at least, and invest in you to really have some sex with you. But if it is he spending some time for a long while, and when troubles come up and like the situation presents itself, and he's still willing to really commit, he's still really willing to come back and see, he's still willing to do these things, it could be a sign that maybe he really like you, and it's not necessarily that. You understand where I'm coming from, right? Now, it's a fickle thing, but you know, that's just how life is, sadly. Some men, like Chris said, could pretty long game. I think that's one core thing you could start off with, you know, in your relationship.
Kyle, that's a great question. I want you to expand on it because somebody asked something, right? Somebody asked why. Okay, why is it that a man pursues a woman and after he gets sex, he tends to back down? So that was somebody's question. So as we on the topic, I don't know if you answered it already, but I thought maybe you could expand.
Somebody asked, why does a man pursue a woman and get sex? Because
Yeah.
that's what he wanted. That's the point I was trying to make. That's actually what he wants. That he isn't interested in you as a person. He's really interested in having sex. Because, I mean, I believe we are all adults here. It doesn't take much for a man to come to the conclusion or the natural urges that he wants to have sex with you. Maybe a woman, it takes much more investment emotionally and things like that. But from the get-go, a man don't already know if he wants to have sex with you because of your body shape, how you're looking, different things like that. So it's like a no-brainer from him in the beginning. So once he get that, the emotional side of it is not part of it, because when it comes to sex, men and women approach it totally different. So I think that's important to do. So whereas as a woman, you say you gain all your feelings and that building your attraction towards the man. For men, is a total different opposite, right? They don't need that total emotional investment to actually have sex with somebody. They could just do it and they move on. And I think that's important to know that, when it comes to yourself,
Yeah. So that was live and direct from a man, ladies. I hope.
Could I just add something?
Yes.
Could I
Philip,
just add
go
something
ahead.
to that?
Mhm.
I want to say also, sometimes it's way meet the people too, right? Now, this is just from my personal opinion, right? And like my lifestyle. So I wouldn't actually go in a bar and look for a wife, right? So sometimes I'll tell myself, if I go to a bar and I pick up somebody, I'm not necessarily looking for a long-term relationship. So I just try to encourage you all that if you're looking for a husband, you don't go and look into a place where it's full of, sin and lustful desires and people just coming out to have a good time, the drinking, the smoking, right? That's actually not an environment to get that from. So I will encourage you. That's another thing you need to look at, where you meet people, right? If you really want a good man, obviously, I ain't saying go to church, but you can meet them in work, whatever, you spend the time and stuff like that. But don't expect to go somewhere like that and pick up somebody and just automatically think that this is the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. Because most of the times, he's looking for something he not lost for, thinking and stuff like that. So you don't want to go down that road as well. So I think you should really look at that when you're deciding to, have a relationship with someone.
Okay, great. Thanks for that, Philip. So the next question. Why do men look at other women in the presence of their woman? I'm sorry for laughing.
That's a good question.
He was laughing.
Yeah.
He was laughing. I didn't hear what you say properly.
Why do men look at other women in the presence of their woman? So you're walking down the road with your wife or your girlfriend, whatever, and you watch another woman.
Wow. Well, even though I'm married, right? But I know how men operate and how men think. Yeah, I was once there, right? And one of the main reasons a man will do that, one, is loss, right? Sometimes it's difficult for a man to help himself, right? If he's driving on a car, even if his wife there, and watch another woman. The main reason, right, is loss. And it's something that drives, Loss is something that can't be contained. So even though your wife sit down there, some pretty woman with some shape, real shape pass and you look and stuff, you might make a comment, but you're looking, right? It's also a disrespect. It's very disrespectful towards your wife or a girlfriend doing that. It's a real disrespectful thing. Why would you do that? But to be honest with you, the thing is that men can't contain themselves because of the spirit of lust in them. And that
is it all men that can't contain themselves?
No, not all men. Men who have issues with lust. Like if a man sit down, okay, for instance, if a man sit down watching porn whole day, or a man just all he's doing is watching girls' anatomy. You're watching the shape, you're watching the hips, you're watching, behind, front, wherever, right? That's all you want to. If that's what you spend your time looking at, right? What will happen now is that that's all will come out of you. So anytime you see somebody looking attractive or you see somebody with shape, you would say, oh, now boy, I have to watch that, and your eyes just follow them. It's because you're in bondage, literally like you're in chains. and it's spiritual. It's something that is difficult for men to fight against because they live in a life of porn and different things, you know. So it's a real lust fights. It's a real lust fights. And it's very disrespectful. You know, if you want to honor your wife or honor your girlfriend in a way, well, you know, well, I love you, right? And I respect you. Right? That's not something you would ever do now. And this outside of being a Christian, I just talk about it in natural. If you really honor and respect your wife, that's something you wouldn't do, right? You might see the woman and say, okay, the woman person, the woman looks attractive, but because of respect and honor for your wife, and say, you know what, nah, love, I really love you, right? My eyes is for you only. And they're really for, you know, I think that's one thing, but really lust is what's driving me, you know?
Okay. Anybody want to add to that, or should we move on? Okay. So
You know
next
what I want to say
question.
about that? Sorry, Celeste. Anybody who on the call right now who has a boyfriend or even a husband, well, a husband, it might be a different scenario, but if you have a boyfriend and anytime you all go out, your boyfriend cannot help but like stare at an attractive woman, that is a very big red flag. I would not take that lightly. If I were you as a young woman dating someone, I would not take that lightly at all. I would stop him, because what I've seen most women do is they actually try to pretend they didn't see it happen. But every time he does it, you confront him and ask, why are you looking at a woman bottom? You know, just, you know, because that's just not, it means that person is really operating with a spiritual lust, and it's not going to work out well for you either. You know what I mean? You might think you're secure, he's my man, you only watching them, but it's my man. It don't work so. That lust will eventually take him over.
Yeah, we lost Kyle, but Chris and Philip, as
Sorry,
we're on this topic, right?
Something I want to add real quick too. And ladies, what that is really powerful, is really true, right? Because I'm not going to change. And it's really something that they say, well, if you could do that, right? What is keeping you from what's going to happen in the future? You could be unfaithful. It's very easy for a man to be unfaithful like that. Very easy. Because you're already unfaithful with his eyes, you know? Because when you watch that lady and you watch all her body parts, right? What happens most of the time, they envision things in their mind. And you already committed adultery or fornication on that person in your heart already. So that's somebody to stay far from, guys. Somebody to stay real far from. Totally agree with me.
Yeah. Kay, I've seen you commenting. If you can probably reach out to Neeks to talk about it further. I know this is a tough situation, so I'll put in her number in the chat, and you could probably reach out to her tomorrow to talk about it further. But Chris, Philip, and right, we got back Kyle. Is it possible for men to be free from lust? Because I grew up hearing that it is normal for men to watch porn and watch women, and that's just something you have to live with. So is it possible for men to be free?
I don't know if Kyle want to answer that. Go ahead. Or Philip.
I thought Kyle was going to answer.
We now get back Kyle, let him readjust.
Yeah.
Kyle,
Yeah,
now
Philip.
respond.
You go ahead,
Answer.
Philip. I just trying to catch where the conversation going, but go ahead,
Now
Philip.
he's like catching himself.
All right, so the answer is yes, right? And I'd say yes because I was definitely addicted, right? In a big way, right? A lot of fun, watching women up and down. I guess that came from my lifestyle growing up and the things that I was exposed to, right? But I remember while fighting this battle of trying to be free, right? It was hard and long, right? I remember once after, I dealing with it from a point of view of porn, right? I remember trying to fight, and, constantly you stop, months pass, and then you're going back, weeks, you're going back, and you're feeling bad. And once I actually heard God say, you have the power to do it. And when I heard that, I said, okay, Lord. And I had to believe that I had the power to do it. And it really was not easy, but what it was a choice I had to make, right? So as hard as it might be, it's a choice we all have to make. So sometimes it requires we stay away from certain things, right? It might even require, if you're not married, you may need to stay away from sex, right? You might need to steer from some of the movies you're watching with your husband or with your boyfriend, because some of the movies may have nudity and all these things. And all these things may trigger something else inside of him, right? So my advice to him is you'll have to lock off certain things. But yes, we can be free, but there's a choice the man will have to make. And I don't think he can make it all alone, honestly. I really think you need Jesus. I think you need the Lord, right? But that's my experience. Different people have it different ways, but yeah. But you have the power. We have the power to overcome if we choose to.
I would agree with him, yes, that, obviously, in the world you grow up, and like I said before, men don't take much to come to the conclusion. They want to have sex with a woman, they watch she physicals, different thing like that, and that's how men grow up analyzing women, whether people accept it or not. That is when you're young and you get introduced to certain things, that's how you start to really analyze women when it comes to deep inside here. So for a man to be free requires really the work of the Lord, and he walking out that freedom in his life, and it is possible. I've been going over 10 years now, free from the spirit of lust, and that is not my life. I don't walk around, seeing certain women and watching their body shape, and I know the difference in my life now. If I see somebody beautiful, am I not going to say the person beautiful? That is two different things, when it comes to that, right? Like, if it is, I see Wonder Woman stand up and right in front of me, am I going to be saying the person not beautiful? That is something different when it comes to lust. Lust, when it comes to lust, is something you really, you're acknowledging, you have thoughts, you have certain driving in your life. And I think also women must understand that the different side of it, that, I don't think when you marry somebody or meet somebody, the man will not find somebody else pretty or attractive. And I think both parties must understand how their emotions and how they feel and their desires, and must be able to know how to deal with it. And I think that's important for any woman who's looking for a spouse, is important, or to get into a relationship, is really to see if they're free from the spirit of lust, is really to see if that in their life, and there's practical ways they can do that. And I think most women know that if you're going out with somebody, I can listen if I'm a fiance not on the call, and I show maybe Cindy not on the call, but I show Chris life is not when they go in the grocery, he see a woman in a short skirt, he looking at her. Now I do know, Cindy got to answer that, right? But my point is, there's freedom does look like something. When you're free from lust, it look like something. You know what I mean? And as a woman, you'll be tangible, you'll be able to see it, and you because I know for all women who listen right now, that's a part of your life here. You want to feel secure about that. You know that the person you're with, his desires is towards you, and that is something a man should cherish, and you should look for somebody who values that as something that's actually, remember the point I made before, right? That's a good way to know if a man really values you and interested in you. If it is he respects you that kind of way, and he would see that as life play out. I know if you go ahead, Celeste.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for sharing, you guys. Okay, so next question I have on my list here. What are the things that will make a man not approach a woman? And the person puts an example. She puts, some men don't approach because they assume the woman is taken. What about the woman gives off this? So I don't know, that might not be a straightforward question. We don't have to spend too long on it, but I don't know if anything comes to mind when you hear it. What are some things that will make a man not approach a woman?
Let me hear you, Philip. You hunting. Let me hear you.
And that question.
What you say, Chris?
I said, use the man to answer that question, man.
I don't understand why, but
you're the only single one. They're ready. Yeah. So
yeah, but that's a hunting question. All right, cool. But what I would say for that is, for me, I can't speak for everybody, right? I speak for me, right? I would ask. I don't think. All right, so let me just give a little history lesson here, right? I didn't study if you had a boyfriend or not in the past, right? It really didn't matter. If I had some kind of liking to you, I would have tried something, right? So I don't know what's the difference now with people, but I would say most likely it can't be everybody, right? It can't be everybody saying that they just think it's taken. That can't be true unless you're like with a set of guys, right? But what I would say is that people either be probably shy or something you do make them feel intimidated they could maybe think that, you know, is they're watching that type of way where you look strong-minded or you don't talk to people. Some people just don't talk to people because they find they look little, as Kyle say, rowdy. You know what I mean? You might be looking like if you know you're unapproachable, right? And I don't know how you change that in somebody.
The person expanded a little bit, right? They said sometimes they see an attractive woman and so they don't approach. So I don't want to answer that for your
It's
answer.
a man, so it's a man asks the question.
No, a woman. Okay, it's a woman, obviously single, and she want to know what are some reasons men might not be approaching her. So she was saying like people tell her they think she in a relationship or maybe she's too good looking or I don't know, right? But you gave some you gave some good answers.
I think if whoever is that saying that just frighten us. I can't see no reason for that.
Nah,
For
it
me, I
has-
can't see a reason for
I'm
that.
not doing I know I'm not doing the question justice, right? The person.
No, okay, you know what?
I think I understand the question, but go ahead. Yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
yeah.
You want to answer generally, what are the things that cause a man to not approach a woman? As you all are as men, you will know what will be a deterrent to you, besides the rowdiness and all of that. Somebody who, this woman obviously is saying, nothing wrong with her, she have everything together, whatever, but people tend to say she's unapproachable. So what would be something that would, for you guys, that would make a woman seem unapproachable?
I think one thing needs is that there are men that fear rejection. It's not only women. People tend to think women are afraid, but men are afraid of that as well too. That's one. And then two, you can look at a lady. If you now how you dress have a big part to play in it as well too, right? If you dress a certain way, right, it might be easier to approach. I'll be honest. It might sound weird, but it's the truth, right? How you dress, how you carry out yourself, like what Philip was saying too, how you look, how your face look. If you're looking too serious or you're looking cool, you might be looking like you're vexed. You know, a man wouldn't really approach, and it could be pretty as you could be pretty someone out, but if you're looking unapproachable, very few men will approach you. They'll get men who will come and approach you, but a man who might be really interested to say, nah, boy, I ain't going down that road. Now, the way how she looking there, boy, let me stay for I. Because there's just you're giving off a vibe too now. You're giving off a kind of vibe where you say, listen, if you want to talk to me, I'll insult you. That's something that will keep somebody away from a man approaching a woman. You know, like if I come and say, hi, how you going? You just watch and don't answer you and they walk off or something like that. A nice rejection. And the biggest thing I think is rejection. That's me. You know?
Somebody asked a question in the chat, right? What is unapproachable?
Well, like somebody looking serious, how they carry about themselves, I was thinking, that's what I was saying. I know you have techniques, but that's
Well,
one
there
thing.
are some people that just have a whole persona that you don't feel intimidated to walk up to them and say hi. But there are other people, my husband passing by and, you know, Marco in the call said sometimes if a woman like too pretty, if the man considers her maybe too pretty out of his league, if you know what I mean? Not that she giving off a vibe or anything, but because she is so attractive, the man himself thinking, nah, she out of my league, so I'm not even going to try. But she may not be looking at him so. You understand? But he thinking she too, I'm not even bothering. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, but that can't be every man though. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It had to have a different reason. It must have a next reason.
Correct.
But we won't be able to say from here. I think we need to get a picture.
Okay, so
No, I think Celeste, like if the person claim they're approachable, that if they're claiming that they have everything together, right? Sometimes that is one of the reasons they could be unapproachable too, because sometimes some men they look at the situation like they say, why had I offer? You know what I can really bring in this situation to throw out as I came. You know, to really bring out as I came here right now. Where's the line I'm going in here with right now? This situation, you know, what I'm coming here with. And sometimes that could bring a little intimidation, a little fear, because at the end of the day, it requires both people to participate in this situation. So I tell a woman, if it is she personally finds she accustomed hearing that she's unapproachable, I would tell her to try and fix that. I wouldn't put that necessarily just on the man alone, but I would tell her herself to try and put that on herself as well. So maybe if it is she could be a little more friendly. if it is maybe if it is she do see somebody she's interested in, she could just she could just assist the situation in that kind of way, because you want to make sure that not presented in all kind of ways. Because to be honest, there's some men who could put on a real good show and it might be the person you actually like. So if it is you're really in a setting and you do like somebody and like let's say you're with the person for a long time and they can't approach you, they don't know how to talk to you, they don't know how to bring out that kind of conversation, because all their general conversation is hi, good morning, and good morning, ma'am, and that's how they kind of and they don't know how to approach that. You could actually adjust a little bit to maybe suit that a little bit to help bring that conversation a little more to life. I don't know if that makes sense. That make a little sense, Unika?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
But-
It does. You're
yeah.
touched on a lot of stuff. And I guess you guys could probably reach out to Neek, so I could send you Kyle's number if you'd like further counseling. But Stephanie said, how about being too churchy? Is that a turn off for men? All you're answering, is that a turn off for men?
For me,
or-
because I know what is too churchy.
well, yeah, I get maybe she's saying like if you're too good, like goody two shoes. I don't know.
Nah, not for me. Not that's with me. I don't think,
Okay.
for me, when it's too churchy, that's something totally different. I think about when it comes to being too good. I'm not thinking that kind of way. I might think maybe somebody who more a little religious and them kind of thing. That is for me somebody who I wouldn't necessarily be interested in off the bat in that kind of way. If it is the real,
Maybe how
religious.
they do wear makeup.
Yeah,
and they go cinnamon. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Hello, God bless you. That kind of,
I'm not gonna say or even conversations. Like when I talk to them, they say, "Yes, don't let the spirit take you." There's some kind of madness. That's the devil, and everything, and you just can't have a normal conversation.
Everything is spiritual, yeah.
Everything is that. That is for me what would be like too religious in that kind of way. Not somebody who keeping themselves and that is something
Right.
different.
That's
And
something
Tiffany says, what about being too stush?
Yeah,
You're
well,
yes, we have a lot of questions, so trying to move off this topic, but
think
being too stush, would that obviously make you unapproachable?
no. They kind of
All
similar.
right, so let's could I ask this, right? Maybe I don't know if we're too far along, right? Could we have the questions break up? I don't know if you could do it because I didn't know the questions, right? Could we have the questions break up in a way like this, right? For us to answer, like, I don't know if a lot of people are single or there are some people looking or vice versa, somebody who in a relationship, right? So could we have the questions like kind of way like where if it's how to get a man, in other words, like how to meet somebody and then also how to keep the relationship. I don't know if that's possible.
Right. So
Like
I
some of them
have it-
like talk about approaching things to fix in themselves.
yeah,
Maybe that'll
I
broaden
have
those
it.
kind of things. Yeah.
I have it kind of categorized. So
Okay,
I have to move to I have to move to the questions about being in a relationship, right? Because they have a few questions about being in a relationship. So this is kind of I was trying to touch on like the single stages. So yeah, once I get through all the questions, I'll move to the kind of questions about actually being in a relationship. So I kind of have it categorized.
all right, cool.
Yeah, it's not perfectly organized, but there's a little bit of order to it.
You good.
Okay. Somebody said, does a woman's body count?
Of course.
Yes, it
Do you
does.
like to expand?
It does.
You see that obviously generally it have a figure, it have different a look that presented in life that most people would say attractive. But I mean at the end of the day we know I know personally some men who went with some people who maybe the world would consider not attractive in that kind of way when it comes to their body and their size and different things like that, right? But generally there's a way a woman look that is attractive to men. I don't know how we could get into that. If it is you want details for that, I don't know how to explain that. So let's do it. Yeah.
Qualities that have women who are physically attractive. They have nothing wrong with having a nice shape. You know what I mean? Your shape, small waist, different things expand. Yeah, that's good. But the problem is when that's all it's about and that's the way you're running down. Right? When that could be a problem. If that's all you could see, if all you could see is somebody physical, that could be a big issue. If that's all you
I think it's important to catch this, right? because we don't want anybody to feel insecure. Well, at least personally, I don't want nobody to feel insecure. I don't want to feel they had to attain something to get a man, right? And that kind of way, like if it is maybe you don't have certain, because I know certain physiques, certain parts of your body, maybe you don't have enough chest or enough, behind that you feel a certain way, right? So I think it's important for women to know some practical things. Like I think maybe weight is something you could control a little bit to your degree that maybe, if it is you had a little exercise, a little do something a little bit. Most men would care about maybe your size and that kind of way. And I think that is something within your control. I think women can maybe, manage a little bit. And I think by it's that good both ways, right? Men as well had to manage their physique in that kind of way as well too. What you think about that, Onika?
Yeah. You're supposed to answer the questions, guys.
I know she said that we not answering the fleshy thing, but I'm just trying to paint the picture in a way to let people know, because I know it naturally in the world today is accepted to go and do breast implants, to go and do certain implants to attract a man, and I don't want people to think that is the route they have to go to meet a man and them kind of thing. That is the first thing you should be on your mind.
Happening, yeah, because you have all these Kim Kardashians and Jennifer Lopez's running around the place, and men go crazy over them, and women think, so to have that, to feel attractive, I have to have certain parts of my anatomy looking a certain way. And, the world gone plastic surgery crazy, because of that, to attain that perfect body, that perfect shape. And whereas it is important to a man, though, ladies, what I would say is a real man who value you and love you, even if you don't have everything all together, right? The physical is not the most important thing, because that is going to fade, right? And so, yes, while it may be a part that would attract a man, it's not supposed to be the big thing, because you are more than your body. You're much more. You have a personality. You have things you could offer the man in the relationship. And so you can't only rely on your physical. If you only rely on your physical, it's actually dangerous, because a more attractive woman could come around,
I think it's important to know who you're trying to catch, women. That's, when it comes to the physical and those different things like that, yes, it's nice to look a certain way, but at the end of the day, you don't want a man to really be interested so much in just where in your physical body as your number one attribute. Like there's some women who might think, well, hey, I had this. That is what will keep the man, and really and truly that won't do it. Because if it is a thing, that is how you're gonna meet him. Let me be a little honest here, right? There are other women out there who look better than you in that kind of way, right? When it comes to physique, and especially when they can modify and get the perfect woman now. When it comes to the physique, it means that you can't really depend on that to really catch a man. But at the same time, Chris, the question was, is it important to a man? Is it important?
Having physical, it's important. But
to plenty men, not all men.
I'll tell you something, please. When I met my wife, when we started dating, my wife wasn't the best physically, but we had a connection. I started to talk, we spent time together, and I actually fell in love with her. And I didn't fall in love with her body. I fell in love with her personality, who she was.
Yeah.
So that was not a big thing for me. But it's a big thing for most men. But what's important to know is that if a man is behind you just because of your body, right? Because you look good, right? There's always somebody who looks better than you. That's the problem. There's always somebody out there that looks better than you in a man's eyes. Because of lust and different things, right? Because if a man has issues with lust, like I was saying before, right? They don't stop. Lust don't stop. It keeps going and going and going. Like, there's a bunch of stop, right? So you'll always find the man always looking for perfection in a woman, physically. And these things fade after time. They start to hang, different things start to drop low. It's happened, So what really matters, though, really is the person itself, who they are, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How they react to you, how they treat you. Different things like that. That's what really matters. Physical is just a temporary thing. It's nice.
True.
It's nice, but it's temporary. Yeah.
I'll just put one more note before you go, Celeste. But I still encourage women to organize themselves if they think they have an issue in that area. And if you do think you have an issue in that area, talk to Onika. She'll help you, because there are also a lot of women who don't treat their physical as something. I actually hear a common thing, because I'm in ministry and I hear a lot of women make this statement. If he had to like me for who I am, so they they don't fix their hair no how, they don't dress a little nice, they don't present themselves anyway. They think they had to like me for who I am, and they make foolish statements like that, and they end up remaining single for a very long time. So it's very important to, address certain things, because we are humans, and that is part of a side of attraction. But yeah, you go ahead, Celeste.
Okay, so I'm moving on to more of the relationship dynamics questions now, right? So we move on to that, and once we have time, we have people who give like specific situations and asking for advice, right? But some relationship dynamics. 1 second. Should a male put liming with the boys as a priority on a Friday in front of his lady? Men, what would you say to that?
Look how they quiet. Look how they quiet. Oh, yeah.
I being honest, I just don't want to just rush and answer. I talk so much just now. So I have an answer for that for sure, yeah? But I know somebody else want to answer first.
Yeah, I think.
We're here in a little while.
Yeah. I'll say no. And the reason I'll say no is because I did that already. Right? And I actually ended the relationship because I wanted to lime rather than be in a relationship. And after that ended, then I realized that, wait, Philip, you push with the girl just to lime. And I realized it didn't make sense, right? And after that, well, I learned from my mistakes, right? And I learned now that I would actually prioritize whoever is the person I'm in a relationship with, because I believe that if I really want to be with this person and spend the rest of my life, I actually have to invest in that person, and not really so much with friends and all these things. I actually had to be one with this person. So I think it's more important. But at the same time, you don't want somebody who's going to just say, I just do it, I'm ready, fellas, and this and that and the other, right? But if you're saying every Friday, I could say no. We should be able to come to agreement and say, well, hey, all right, I'll stay home, we'll lie, whatever the case may be. But I think that no man should say that the fellas is more important than the girlfriend or the wife or the fiance, whoever in situations. I don't think so.
Okay, lovely. Who else would like to contribute?
Chris, you go ahead, man. This was your journey, Chris. Go ahead.
Was that guy?
I said this was your journey, Chris. Go ahead.
This one,
I agree with Philip totally, right? But sorry, yeah, I got distracted for a second. Just repeat the question real quick. I got distracted. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Okay.
Distracted.
Can we pull it up? Should a male put liming with the boys as a priority on a Friday in front of his lady?
Right. I don't necessarily agree with that. And the reason why, why would you, you're saying Friday, line with the boys and stuff. Nothing is wrong with line with the boys, right? But your priority should be your wife or your girlfriend. That's supposed to be number one priority, all right? But in reality, if it is, I can't line with the boys at no point in time. If there's no time, I can't line with the boys. Then we could have a problem, because that's controlling. And if I had to spend time with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day, right? And there's no time I could go and say, okay, I'm going to run a little, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, right? And it's becoming a problem. That's a big problem, because you shouldn't have a problem with that. Especially if you trust me, if you know who I am, you know where I would be, you know where I'm going, and I go down checking the girls. You're not checking nobody else. It's guys we like it, right? So insecurity could be a big problem in a woman's life with that. If you're very insecure, a woman could have a problem because they might have trust issues there. They may not believe you're going to line with the boys. They might feel like go and check a girl or something. And that's something that had to be worked out very fast. But that could be real troublesome in a relationship or a marriage. Because what you want is a open, when I say open, I'm going to say open relationship. That's something wrong. You want a relationship with trust, right? And you want also to feel that freedom and say, as a man, yeah, you could go and line with the boys. If you want to line with the girls or you want to stay home, that's fine. But this time, I want to go and do this. And she should be okay with that. But if it's something you're doing every 2 days or every 3 days, you want to line with the boys every 2-3 days, obviously that would be a bit is overload now. you know, and you're not spending no time with your girlfriend or your wife, right? Your wife could start to feel a little bad, might say, "What, he don't spend no time with me. He prefer to spend time with the boys than spend with me." You know, and that could really, I guess it could hurt someone, and they could feel hurt inside and saying, "Well, okay, is it something missing from me? Why he doesn't want to be with me as often as he want to be with them? Is there something I need to do?" You know, and that's something that had to be rectified very fast in a relationship. But that's a bad way to start a relationship. It's really, really bad, because insecurity could carry you down a road that, listen, it could carry you far down a road into real problems. Because trust, that's what I would say, must be there. You know?
I would just maybe add two things, right? That you know, the question was that if it is somebody with the boys on the line, if he should stop because put the priority. I think that should never be the question. The priority thing, if a man talking to you so that the man is the priority, then something wrong with you, right? That means that you are no city. Remember, if you're in a serious relationship, never now getting meeting to somebody and only now getting to know each other, you have to be able to see where people are growing together, because you yourself might be willing to make that kind of commitment to say, well, I'm gonna lock off this person just to be with you. But if you're in a serious relationship, right? I want to say something that's opposite to what the answer, the question asking, right? I find women I'm gonna say it because I don't want to feel like it's an attack, right? Women should really try to be invested in what their partner like to be doing. So I would ask this question: like, if the man wants a line and he wants to do things, right? Why you want to stay home? Why don't you just try and be a part of wherever it is he doing and going out and lying? And I think believe it or not, right? Most men like a woman who would be fun to go out and line with and hang around, especially with their partners and different things. I talk about naturally, right? If it's a man on stupidness, if you want to go to club and run down some woman, and obviously he don't want it to be there. But if it is you really fun and you're really a part of it, trust me, women, a man would actually want you to be around him and be involved and be, you know, he would actually want those things, right? And the next side of it, where I think sometimes women get us a little wrong, is that they don't have a life outside of a man sometimes. That they actually should, why are men having a night? Why it is you don't have a girls' night or something you could do? And sometimes that sometimes be a conflict sometimes in a relationship, that men might quicker, you know, the girls and lime the quicker and do things, and sometimes women now left alone and she have nobody to line with, she have nobody, because she now make the man know her whole world. And actually that's a sign of an unhealthy relationship, that you think that this person is your whole life, and that's actually a sign of not a healthy relationship. So I encourage women that you should actually have friends. You should be able to have friends, and if it is you go out, at least you can invite your friends over, or they could lime and do something. And I think that's important, that you must see that in your own life, where if it is you're being too needy, too clingy when it comes to a situation like that. So I encourage women to really address those two things, and believe it or not, a man will find that attractive in a big way. He'd actually want to spend more time with you, believe it or not. You guys.
Somebody asked
real quick. Just the person who asked this specific question, the person didn't ask if my boyfriend Lyman too much with the boys Monday, Tuesday. She said on Friday. I mean, if my husband had a night, like a one night that he used to go and let's say play FIFA or play cards, right? I will have no problem with that. I have absolutely no problem with that. You go and play FIFA, I still man, do I want to do? I watch a movie. I have nobody to make no dinner for. I have nobody to call and do nothing. I have my time. If it's one night, then that's what I'm saying. If it's not like a habitual thing, I absolutely see nothing wrong with that. Especially if I'm sure where you are. You know what I mean? It's not you're lying, you're trying, you know.
I was if you're not clubbing and doing them certain things, let enjoy yourself.
Yeah, it's a boys' night out, playing cards or whatever. I see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat, when you were talking, said, why do some men not want you around his male friends? So I guess the person is asking, what if the person, significant other, doesn't want them around their male friends? I think we kind of answered it, but
probably so any line too.
And I want to say two reasons you just saw the line.
So many lines.
Or he don't trust you. He don't trust his circle too much. So it's either two. So that two issues you have, like a trusting with the fellas and them, or here you just sour the line. You just come and give attitude, and it's just like when you go, you just be talking in his circle. Well, oh gosh, why you bring that girl, boy? You know this, and you just be the talk in his circle, and he doesn't know how to sit down and try to figure out a way to defend you. So instead of doing all that, he just say, Breads, you steal. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
but,
we're getting into some serious questions now, right? We're gonna be talking about communication and emotions and stuff. So all of you get ready. I'm looking for the question. Right, but there's a few questions along the same lines, right? So one of them is why after a little argument, some men close up and don't speak to you until the next day.
I would ask maybe Philip or Chris if they are like that. I am not like that, so I can answer it a little bit, but maybe I don't know if you are. No, it's just be a person. Something people might have a personality. I don't know. I am not like that.
I think okay. So there were a lot of questions. Yeah, there are a lot of questions about communication and men sharing their feelings and stuff. So I think maybe the vast majority of men are probably like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
I definitely was like that. So.
I think why men kind of will. That's not me either, right? But if something gets really bad now, if you have a wife or a girlfriend who is a serious nag, somebody who nags a lot and constantly things, same thing over and over, and every little problem, and they say, hey, okay, right now you've been a bit nagging, and I might need a little time. I will do it. Just let me finish this while I'm doing. Let me relax a little bit, and then I'll come and do that, right? And if he now continues constantly, that could cause a man to withdraw a little bit, right? And he will withdraw to a point to say, well, okay, I can't get in a word because I'm trying to say something. I'm trying to say, listen, I will do it, but I will do it when I want it, not necessarily when you want to do it. And most of the times, when a woman asks you to do something, the way you do it now, right? But sometimes the man might be feeling to do it now. And you continue and it causes an argument based on that, a man could withdraw out of that and say, you know what, this thing ain't working. Because when I talk, you're not hearing me, right? And you wanna get your point across, and I just trying to explain to you a little reason here. Because at the time I might be feeling to do it. At the time I might be doing something else, right? That might be more important than what you asking me to do. So I will say, listen, the best thing is to let me just don't say nothing, because the person not stopping. And now there's some people, they just want, she may not be stopping. Go in, right through, go in. All right? Just nagging. Everything is a problem. That could send you, and say, boy, let me just hush my mouth, don't say nothing, that'd be better, and stay quiet. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Okay, Philip, what were you gonna? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I was like that. That's a simple reason, right? So I was a person who never liked to quarrel growing up, but I grew up in a house of quarrels, right? But I would just keep everything in. And when I get angry, I would say the worst set of things. So for me to prevent myself from saying things that I don't really want to say, I rather not speak. And I will actually go and think about the situation, and I will come back and we'll deal with it at another time. So I believe that it meant sometimes they just need to process things, right? Not necessarily deal with it one time. And that's for me personally, right? I made my sisters and them cry, saying, just talking. So I learned when they're angry, don't speak. So I just say, go in the corner, catch yourself. So when I come back, we can have a proper discussion.
I think it's important what Philip said too, right? Because that's what I wanted to answer, right? Yeah, that sometimes there's a habit some men get to learn in their relationship. Because sometimes a conflict happen and like say, maybe woman, she share all kind of different things and whatever. And believe it or not, our way to understand this, right? Sometimes the problem you making a big issue about, to the man, he don't really care. It's not a big issue to him. And when he expressed that, like in the past, it is turned out to be a problem and he don't know how to answer anymore. So sometimes a man also, he just take a little time to reflect and figure that out, because if he answers stupid, he understand the past where it went on. It had a sequence of events that lead up where it is, look, this is how you're talking to me and you're answering. And sometimes in the man thinking, and that's being honest to your woman, right? sometimes the conversation is not necessary as important to them in the context, like maybe how you feeling emotionally and maybe you're feeling hurt or something happening. To him, maybe he not personally feeling that way, like hurt and different. But he know if it is he speak out that time and here right now, that is another bacchanal and drama, and they're gonna shift the whole conversation to something else. So sometimes it's better you just zip your trap, walk away, and figure out how to approach it in a different way. Because after a while, that's how sometimes you learn your pattern in a relationship. I'm not here to decide if they're good or bad, but that's just sometimes how it is actually work out sometimes for some people. You know?
I think in most cases it's safer to actually step away and come back later day. And Philip was saying, is the safer route for the man to do that? Because what happens, men when they get angry, men different from women when they get angry, get emotional and sort of shout up, and just go on a rampage, right? And don't stop, right? But man, when I want to get angry, they're a little different. So that's why it's always better to say, you know what, no, this is not going to work. Like what Kyle was saying from past experiences, it's not going to work, right? Nobody hears anything, so let me just pull myself away from the situation, right? For
so
time.
I could be real aggressive too, Chris, but go ahead.
Yeah, if you say men don't shout and rant, because that's not true.
No.
Yes, Onika, give your input. Give your input.
Men are not aggressive and go rant on it. But when a woman is in a zone, sometimes most women they get in a zone and they can real quarrelsome. Some women, right? That men who quarrelsome too, of course. But what men will quicker do, right? Will say, listen, especially if you feel like I win this battle, you just withdraw and come back at a later date and try again. Try again when things are calm. When things calm down, then they try to break.
Men are emotional too, they just express it differently to women.
Yeah, and I want to say both people are emotional. So I would tell every woman, and also a man, well, all of us, the three men listening, it's important to watch your arguments. Like, watch what you're arguing about, and you know how to navigate what it is going on in any situation. Because a man, like Onika said, men get mad with some situation, but you can see what they get mad about. Like a man might really trip when it comes to a woman dressing and being certain way, and you will see outside of him where he's saying, why you want to get on so in public, and he would express himself that kind of way. And you could actually see from the conversations the things that trigger him, and vice versa. Men had to do the same things too when it comes to a conversation. Now they realize and watch it. When I do this or certain things, I know these things is lash out and how things is map out. And I think that's important for both parties to really recognize, like how to argue, if you want to call it that, like how to know when to know. Sometimes you have to know when the person is dealing with, and let's be real, right? That's only come after a time. Sometimes you get to realize, well, all right, I realize he really do like this boy. So it's up to you now to sort out that and vice versa, the opposite way, right? But you go ahead, Sally.
Okay. All right. So we're sticking on men and their emotions, right? Because there's quite a few questions about that. So just trying to figure out which one to start with. But somebody said, why are men scared to be open about what hurts them? And the person is saying they're not like the other people they were with in the past now. So the people who hurt the man in the past, she is not like them. But the man is still doesn't want to open up to her. The man is scared to open up to her.
I see somebody ask a question to Celeste. I say the person name is P. Why do men like to open up with their feelings or like to share intimate things?
Yeah. She said it's like you have to squeeze it out. So a big question is why don't men open up about the deep things in their life? Yeah.
You get Chris?
Me? Yeah, well, men not like that. That's the first thing, because I am definitely not like that. Right? If I have a problem with something, if I see something I don't like, right, I tell you one time, that's me.
That's not one person asking. They say about the deep things in your life, your deep insecurities and hurts and issues, and not like deep things.
Not like shallow.
Things
these things that hurt you or your feelings, being vulnerable. So she said the intimate things that bother you or happen to you, it's the deep things that men.
Yeah, sometimes what happens is that a man growing up, you don't know what happened to the man. You don't know what he went through growing up. Now, some people have it real rough growing up, men, women alike. boys, girls. And you could have a rough life growing up, and there are things that you could see, right? Or things that you experienced, that you went through, that could cause it to be that way. You know, it could be a past relationship, right? And it leave a scar on you. Now, you think about it, don't leave that scar. That's not right. And that's something that actually be planted there, and it could actually cause, right, your future relationships to go down that road where you wouldn't really express certain things to your present spouse or girlfriend. And the reason for that is because a deep, deep hurt, so something that happened at a young age, right, that literally had a negative impact on you, and you might have a girlfriend or a wife who totally different from what you experienced. They're the total opposite of what you ever had. Really love you, really into you, want to do things, help you, different things, right? And being genuine with you. And you might keep certain things from that person. You wouldn't want to express, right, how you totally feel because of what went on when you was growing up, what they saw, right? You could have a parents, all right, for instance, let's say I had parents who would tell you, listen, it's no good, I don't love you, you're a waste of time, you will never get nobody good, this, that thing, all these kind of different things, right? I have some parents that could say things that are real crazy, real crazy. And as a child, when you hear that coming from a parent, it affects your life, right? And that, when that is implanted in you, that stays in you unless you get freedom from through Christ. You know where you can get free from that is through Jesus, right, guys? It's the only way. When that is planted in you, right, you carry that into relationships as you get older. If you don't deal with it, if it's not dealt with. And so those things, those scars that come deep, that come in there from a young age, right, you find that you carry it into a relationship and it will affect your relationship in a negative way. Because this person will be like, why are you doing this to me? Why you don't want to share this with me? Or why you don't open up to me? You know what I mean? And it's because of what they went through at a young age. Most of the times it's always a hurt or a scar or something traumatic that they experienced that caused them to react that way or to not open up and keep things inside now. Even like if I get in an argument and like something happened within a little argument and you can't share your feelings because you think if you share your feelings now, right, might cause the person to say, listen, I'm done with you, or just pull away and say, I'm up with you, right? Because of things that happen, similar things happen to you in your childhood with your friends, your parents, a best friend could have do that. There are many different things,
Okay, anybody else want to answer?
I think for me, I didn't really have an example emotionally home, right? My father was very strong-minded. I saw my father cry once, and I was already big, right? So I never saw my father open up in that type of area at all. And if I tell you, my mom's stronger, she's stronger. My mom is like a rock, so you don't ever see that, And I think I probably get that from there. So I don't really feel like sharing emotions because I never had that. I don't know what it is to run home and say, Mommy, I love you, and Daddy. I didn't grow up like that.
Right.
I grew up kind of rough. I don't think I missed it, but I guess it could have did something with me internally though. So that could be an issue in men's life, certain men's life. Also the fact that we think we just don't really have the amount of emotions as women, you know what I mean? We think we're supposed to always look strong. And I think that is probably two reasons.
It's actually what men have been taught many times, that you shouldn't cry, don't be a wuss, don't get on like a little girl, you understand? And little boys growing up are actually taught that part of being a man is being strong and controlling your emotions. Don't let nobody see you vulnerable. You have to be the man. And so men actually grow up thinking being the man means I don't cry, I can't have an outburst and say I'm feeling hurt. That's not manly. It was, that's their father tell them that's not manly, or their mother, and that's not true. And it does hamper men in their adult life and relationships,
Yeah.
I think let me add one thing to it too, because at least for me personally, I am in with my fiance, I would have to open up. And I saw it in myself. There's some things I didn't want to necessarily see at the moment, because for me personally, like things from my past, and we talk about things in a relationship and how I feel, and I would say certain things like about the situation, but necessarily how it made me feel. Because for me, it was bringing up certain emotions and different things. And I just didn't want to deal with that kind of side of it, right? So I would tell you this from experience, that I think it's important that you understand how a man is built up, regardless of what you think, right? That even as like when you guys say in society and different things, which is true, By the end of the day, a man must put himself together because he has a, if it is really in a marriage and a relationship and different things, like he have to emotionally catch himself because at the end of the day, he had to figure out to lead, he had to figure out to do certain things. And as much as, like be a little practical here, right? If a man, a woman, you see a man crying and getting emotional and again also all the time, right? Sometimes that affects some women because they think they tend to feel, well,
all the time though, Kyle. Nobody say
and
all the time.
here's what I'm
And
saying,
when they
Onika.
try to squeeze it out of them, they don't open up.
Well, this is my point what I'm saying, Onika. Listen, right? It's acceptable most of the time for a woman to deal with an issue for some time. It is not acceptable for a man to be crying right through if he keep bringing up an issue that maybe he don't know how to fix in his personal life. That maybe he might, when he comes to a place where he's broken and emotional, and so some men, when they get emotional, they know how to just, all right, and they're done. They just say, cool, I done crying, and they're willing to move on in our conversation. And with the opposite, sometimes it's happened with men. They get emotional, they get different things, and they cannot live in that moment. They can't live feeling, that kind of weakness because it's just not reality accepted. It's not just something the relationship carry. If a woman see that man crying too much and getting on a certain way, it does affect the other side of the relationship. It does come across at times like, but when it comes to a man, I sure most men would accept that, that's how women. So I understand the society part of it, and they're saying like this, but at the end of the day, a man at the end of the day, he had to put on his shoe, he had to strap up, and he had to lead, and he cannot afford in certain moments to act that way. So hence the reason is have a trickle down effect with some men. So a woman asks a question, which is a very important question, right? How do you see now a man might act a certain way, he might move a certain way, he might want to just necessarily times show that emotional thing, right? That I think it's important to understand how a man might think and operate in a situation. That yes, men have insecurities, they have different things, and they don't always respond to situations the same way that you do. Men tend to, maybe in their hearts, they have things that they put up walls with because it's just like Onika said, society is just not accepted, but also they feel that way personally in their life. They feel personally if they actually act weak, if they get on a little, like how you say a wuss right now, if it is you're crying, you're going on a certain way, that actually the woman would have less love for them. They actually feel in moments that that's how it would be, and it's very hard to shake that off at times. I don't know if that.
I mean, the man need help now. He just need help.
Right.
He might need help.
My point where a pathway for a man help might be different. So the person asking that question, like how to get help for a man, like how it is, all right, Chris, they're asking like, you're in that situation, you're a little vulnerable, you don't know how to open up. How it is to present a conversation that where it is, instead of you trying to, because a woman might know a man, he not being honest totally here at the moment, right? And she might try to pry it out because she know how she knows something wrong, right? And she might think trying to pry it out is the way to get it out. And she might think, well, that is how I will get him to open up. Would that work on you, Chris?
No, it would not.
So how would you open up then?
So the next question is, what is advice to get a man to open up? So you all could touch on that, yeah.
Right. How would I open up? Well, first thing first, if it's a problem I have, Kyle, if it's something that I had from growing up, or something like just so you need help now, you need assistance, you might need counseling, you might need prayer, different things, right? So, but if it is the woman approaching me to get something out of me in her way, and it's offensive, it might be offensive to me, or it might be, how to put it? It might be in a manner that I find it's coming across a little hostile or disrespectful or whatever the case may be. I wouldn't open up to that. You know what I mean? No. So I would wait and come on another time and say, no, it's not the time to talk to you about that. No, I could never open up to you there, right? But I'll need help. I'll need the help, right? But even if let's say I don't need the help, I still wouldn't respond to that at that time, depending on how you come across and how you bring it to me. Right? I'll wait another opportunity when it arises, where a little more peaceable, where I see a little more reason might be there, and then I will bring it to you. That's what I would have done. No, that's not my situation. I'm just saying that's what I would do, you know?
I don't know why Delilah keep coming to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
You have any advice how to like?
Why Delilah come into your mind, Onika?
Because I don't know when Chris is talking, I swear I just picture.
To get someone to open up.
Samson on Delilah lap and she talking to him and trying to get his secret out. And she rubbing him, talking, and bam, she cut his hair.
Yeah, but how Delilah did it, right? She was, I think she did not see Dr. Way. She was coming around him, right?
Yeah. No, I'm not saying her way was right now. I just literally saying it just came to mind, she was using tactics. But
Yeah,
all it was
but
evil. All it was like the outcome was for evil. Women do need to know how to bring out their soft skills and how to woo a man and how to get him to that place and to bring out that vulnerable side. You don't badger and nag a man to open up. You go nag the man to open up. Come, you know what I mean?
Also, Nika, it's important that when the topic come up, you don't make the conversation about you.
Right.
You understand? Like when that come up, you do not make the conversation about you because the man might share something and you might take it personal. You might feel, well, it's an attack on you or something like that. Like even if he share something that about you, remember you're really trying to ask him, man, what about him closing up? And so it's important. And I think that would happen over time, like a little period. You had to, subtly do certain things. And as you get the person to open up more and more, you'd realize it comes a natural thing to the person. I mean, when you ask a question, because that's one of the worst things for a man personally, right? That when it is and then he feel an attack. And then he feel like you asking me a question about me, but now it turn about you and how you feeling. Then what's the point of even answering the question, or where's the point of me opening up? Because remember the point I'm trying to make, right? For a man maybe to reach the emotional side of him, that kind of way where you feeling vulnerable, it might take a little more for him because in himself he might put up a little wall. So he don't feel like, I'm gonna put on the wall, I'm gonna be a little vulnerable here. But then now you crying and you get emotional and you feel it's about you, or you accusing me, and then so what he naturally do, he had to pull back up the wall and now cater to your feelings. And hence the reason it goes nowhere, the conversation goes nowhere. So I think that one of the things that's important is, if it is you want to hear what a man have to say, it's important to be willing to listen. It's important to at the moments to stop and be willing to listen. And even if it hurts your feelings, remember, if you're with somebody and you really love somebody, it's important because, I'll give you an example, right? A man might be struggling with lust and there's a shame and all kind of madness, and he cannot come out and tell you that. Because if he come out and tell you that, now it turn about you, and now it come like a police, like, all right, so you'll be doing this, you'll be doing that, and now it becomes a whole issue where he feel he had a whole this accountability thing, and that's not really what he wanted to share at that moment. You understand? He wanted to just come out and say, "Gil, I really need some help, and I've been feeling this way," and now he feeling more condemned. And I don't think it does work out sometimes. But anyhow, like we can move on, I guess, from now, Sally.
Okay. I just have like 2 more questions along those lines. So I'll give you this question. Somebody is saying that they with somebody, but the man rather turn to a female friend to open up about his issues with than her. What do you think about that?
You can say that over. I get a little confused with the end. Right?
People in a relationship, right? The man don't want to talk to his girlfriend about how he feeling. He want to talk to his female friends. He don't want to talk to her. So she wanted to know like how you deal with that.
I think that's a little. Go ahead.
No, I don't know.
Like we don't have the exact situation and stuff, so I don't know. Maybe you could say.
No, it's a common thing. It's an actual common thing that happens. That the question is like, if it is he, like I give example, right? That's how men get close to cool because that kind of thing, because they feel well they could talk to this person and work however, but then it's like you can have a conversation with that person, right? I think that's a relationship. That's basically first begin. That's a relationship that have set up that your wherever this dynamics. I can explain. I don't know what is the dynamics happen. Like if it was always like that, or if it started to get that way. Like all right, I'll give you an example. Right, if it started off like that, most likely man is trying to balance his life in a relationship way. Like he would use you for like sexual things, this, that, and that, but then he would use the girl for maybe that other person for like that emotional stability, and believe it or not, he understands the emotional stability is more valuable. So he wouldn't try to mess up that relationship. He would try to, he'll sleep around with you, you do have fun with you, do all kind of mad. But when it comes to the emotional side, he know he has that person he could communicate with. And if that is the beginning of a relationship, that is a relationship it should really try and evaluate. It should really try and say, watch me, I don't want to be in this relationship to that degree, right? But if it going the opposite way, I would question maybe what it is really going on in both parties. Like, like if you should have place because all you're arguing and things not, things not, it's just not happy home and things, he just feel now, he just can't talk. Like we go back to the other point, he can't voice, he can't sit, and he would end up going and trying to communicate with somebody else. And that's where it's end up kind of happening. I don't know if like Chris and them or Philip want to say anything along those lines.
What you said is really true. Because what was happened, and it's dangerous to do that though, because if you're in love with the person or you really have feelings towards the person that you're with, even though you have an argument, you can't talk to the person, you go in and talk to a female, right? Can make a good point there. Is it that the female that you go and talk to, whoever it is, right? Was that person your friend before you was in a relationship? Is this person somebody you was friendly with while you with this person, and the person are aware of it, right? The dynamics really is different. If it's somebody that you're not friendly with, you was not friendly with, or somebody you just started to talk to recently, and they find it cool, and they start to talk to them about the problems they're having, that's a problem. And you see, because the thing is, most of the time, this is not all the time, guys, but a lot of times when men do that, if a man goes to seek a woman's counsel, right, it's because they're looking to recover, or they're looking to catch back themselves, or they're looking to feel better about the situation, and or some of them actually want proper counsel, but you went to the wrong person for the counsel. Let's put it that way. You choose the wrong person, because that's danger. You set up yourself, right? You go and talk to this person about your intimate things with this other person, right? The person you're with your wife, especially if you're married, it's totally different. You see, marriage and going around, there's two different things in this situation. If it's a marriage, right, that's a setup. That could be a trap, right? Because you're talking intimate things with this person. So you have to reevaluate and say, wait now, all right, I know I'm vexed with my wife. I can't talk to her about the situation. I'm trying to talk to her about this thing and I'm not getting through, right? It's just quarrel upon quarrel and arguments on arguments, and you're looking for counsel elsewhere. Don't go to some pretty female, or some female that know that you feel she like to talk to you, or let's talk good, and you have to use wisdom, right? And wisdom will tell you this, you know what? I love my wife. We have arguments, we having problems, we might need counseling. We go to a professional counselor to get counseling. Let me not go and sit down with no girl or no woman in no office or wherever, right? And sit down and talk about the things I do. And that is a setup scenes. That's what I believe. That's setup scenes. Now in all cases, it wouldn't be like that. It have some men who could actually talk to a woman having problems and they have no feelings towards the woman, but they just find this person to give good counsel and they listen. The person probably just a good listener, and they want to share these things with that person because your wife not taking you on, your wife not hearing what you're saying. You're not getting a word now. When they share out with this person, the person will say, you know what, probably try this, go back and try this with your wife. Nothing is wrong with that either. But it's a real thin line. You gotta be real careful, boy. It all depends on the person's motive, right? The man motive to talk to the person. What is the reason for going to that particular person? Is there a motive behind it? Or is it they just want to solve and fix the problems in their marriage? If it is the man just want to fix the problem in his marriage, I don't see anything wrong with that. And the person that he's talking to, give them proper counsel and say, listen, try this with your wife, try doing this with your wife. With a woman, I don't see anything wrong with that. It all depends on the situation. You know what I mean? That's what I think.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why it's important.
Somebody
So,
asked if a man could have a female best friend. So whatever your answer, include
Chris
that.
go answer that, boy. Chris go answer that. That's why it's important.
Who married or a man who just have a girlfriend? You see, it's different. But personally, I would say no. That's not advisable. I don't agree with that. Because your best friend is somebody that you talk intimate things with. Now, if you're my best friend, I come and tell you personal things because we are my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is I'm in a relationship and things going sour in my relationship or having problems, and I come and I'm telling my best friend who's a female or what going on in a relationship, it's similar to what we just spoke about, right? And I talking to that person, and that person saying, oh, don't worry, and they start to get close to the person now, and you end up falling into a relationship with that person. That could happen because you don't know how that person feeling. You don't know what any person had. All right, another instance, you might be clean in your heart. You don't mean nothing. You just want help, right? I just want my marriage to be fixed. I want my issues solved, right? But at the end of the day, right, your best friend, who's your best friend from however how long, primary school, whatever, you don't know how them seeing you, you know. Suppose that person like you, because women can play the long game. Just like men can play the long game, women can do it too. Both parties can do it. Them can play a long haul game with you, you know, and be your best friend by your side, move with you. But I'm not showing no interest in no romantic interest in it. But we moving and talking to you different things. And that's why it's dangerous. Okay, I don't know what going on in the person's heart. I don't know what in that person's heart. So I can't, for me to come to you as a female and tell you personal intimate things, right? You could use that and play on my vulnerability and cause problems. You never know. Things just happen. And it's just not wisdom, guys. It's not wise. You don't do that. You go, if you want counseling and something, you go to probably a pastor you know good or somebody you know who you respect. Even your parents, if your parents could give you good counseling, if they're Christians, if they love the Lord, they give you good counsel. But I don't see why you would want a best friend as a female. I find that's trouble. That's real trouble. You're looking for trouble. That's what I believe.
Obviously determine where you call our best friend in that kind of way, right? Because that may be determined for everybody. But
yeah.
I guess that's some things obviously you just can't share with a woman as a man. You know what I mean? So I guess there are some things, you know, that's when it comes to best friend, you would evaluate where you call your best friend, right? Because there's some things that just you wouldn't share necessarily with a woman about your own self, you know, and that's just how life is, you know. So I would question like where determined, but I would say this, could a man and a woman be friends? I would say yes. Obviously the answer to that is yes. But I can't remember what I was going to add to this situation before Celeste threw me off there a little bit, but that is okay. Let's move on. If it come back to mine, I'll say it.
Yeah, let us know if it come back to mine. Sorry about that. Okay, so the last thing on this topic, somebody is sharing situation they're in. So I'm going to read out the situation, and I guess you could let us know maybe what this man really means, right? Or what he's thinking, right? So she says, I am in a relationship with someone. He's a very nice person, but he's emotionally unattached. We were good in the beginning, but then he stops communicating. We barely see each other. We don't talk or text as we used to. Right now, I believe this is not going anywhere, and it's 1 year and 4 months since we both decided to get into this relationship. He says, give him time to sort out himself. What do you think? So I think she's asking like if she should stay or if she should leave or yeah.
What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
The person here?
It was anonymous.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to, if the person here, I would like to ask the question, what it is they're sorting out? So like what they actually, like what right now in their life they're sorting out that have them so detached from the relationship. That would be my question first, to like, you know, what have them, you know, so detached from the relationship that they have to sort out apart from her. You understand? Because sometimes people can have real issues that they maybe really need to deal with current in life, and there's not a reflection about how they feel about you or if they love you, any kind of thing like. Because if you get there with a year and for like 4 months, and I don't know if they knew them from before, right? I don't know if they knew the person from before. But if it doesn't know somebody, so like for 6 months they get the relationship, you get to know them, and in a year there may be some things about the person like maybe they just really need to sort out on their own, and they're really trying to do it to benefit the relationship. So like a good example is like if it is their family issues or they have things like with their own personal loss, addictions and things like that, and they just think it's not beneficial for the relationship. Sometimes they might need to sort out that on their own, and maybe they don't really feel comfortable right now expressing that to you, right? And it don't necessarily that is an individual thing, but I would like to actually know like when she asks the question, like what the person's response was, like, you know, like what it is you really need this time apart from to really sort out, because I think that's a natural question for you to ask, right? Like a natural thing, right? So if I pretend and a girl call me and tell me, well, you know, so is the case, I would say, well, so what is going on? And I think they at least owe me to some degree, because we together a year and something, they at least owe me to some degree a little reasonable explanation that I would, if they need space, I will be willing to give them the space. So I don't know if the person could do that. I don't know if they want to share, anybody else want to share something on that line. So if you're listening, maybe you could anonymously give that little input to like what if the person did say something or if it did ask a question.
Yeah. So if you're here, you can let us know. If you're willing
Is that
to
a
give
question
us
to them?
I agree with Kyle, but I kind of have another side to it, right? Because it could be an indication that this person is maybe, okay, it could be an indication of how that person is going to be handling when they do have internal issues, like moving forward or whatever, even in marriage, that's how the person going to deal with it all the time, pull away. You know what I mean? I mean, time will tell that, right? If there's another scenario, for something legit that they're really going through. I understand Kyle's point, and I agree totally that in some cases, pulling away is the better thing for the relationship, right? But it could, if only the person could actually answer this, that if they notice that is a, like a trend that, they pull away when that's their way of dealing then. Which for me,
with difficulties.
Yeah, which for me, I wouldn't want to be married to somebody and you go on distant, you in space, you can't talk, you can't, it's like you just in a world when you have issues and I can't even reach you and and I feel detached from you. So I'm not saying the person is not a good person to maybe marry someday, but that person will need help with some emotional intelligence on how to deal with their emotions.
And also, Nika, the reason why I want to ask the question if the person could is because also there's a sign maybe he's just not interested in you. And he could actually be right now waving his option somewhere else and having you to figure, understand, like,
right. The reason why he pull away is because he actually is talking to somebody else.
And he want to know if it is. That's actually the first answer came to my mind, right? But let me just get the answer right now. But the reason being is sometimes he want to know he like you, but he want to know like if this other option better. So he given a little more time, and if that will work out, he know he could come back to you, and. So I would really like to know if the person could answer that question. What it is, when it is when it is they said they need some time to figure what it is if you ask them what they need time for, like what is really happening, and if they did answer that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think if the person just pulling away on their own just like that, if nothing is causing that pulling away, you gotta look at that as a serious red flag. You gotta look at, right? What causes for that argument, or if it's just he just withdrawing and the person didn't do anything. That's a serious thing to look at, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you can feel free to reach out to Neeks at any time if you wanna go deeper into the situation. But I think that was some really good advice. The next question is about cheating, right? So this is what the question says. Your significant other has cheated on you, and now you have trust issues with him, even though you have forgiven him. How can I build back that trust 100% where I don't think he will do it again? Is the statement once a cheater, always a cheater a true statement?
That person here as well too?
I think most likely because the question recently came in is one of the newer questions. So, I mean, the person, if you want, you could change your name and if you want to give more details about the situation. But I
would like to hear if the person could talk here a little bit, like maybe tell, because they say the person cheated on you, right? And I don't know if you're married. I really don't know anything about this situation, right? But I know it's a personal question asking. It's not really about yourself, right? It's not like a general question, right? So I'd like to actually know if maybe you could give a little details about the situation in that kind of way. And then also too, like what happening, because like you say this, right, that you like he cheated on you, and like what you need to do, believe it or not, you need to do anything to some degree. It's really he needs to do things, and you so I would ask you, so I give an example, right? He needs to be a little more transparent, he needs to be a little more open, he needs to get back your trust. So believe it or not, it's not necessary, but obviously once you say you forgive the person and you want to get back that communication, that looks like something to you. So I would generally like to hear what, like maybe what is the situation, so I could tell you like if this person really don't really care right now. Because if the person really does care, I'll give an example. If he's still moving a little secretive, then he don't really care about you right now. He you know what I mean? He's not taking into consideration. He didn't necessarily see the consequence of what he did. because I want to know something, right? In the Bible uses repentance, right, as a term that we turn from something in our life. It actually looks like something. When you're really sorry about a situation, really repentant about something, really want to not let it happen in your life again, you make practical choices in your life and you say, watch me, I don't want to do this in my life. I'm not going to go down this road. So I think for you, if you're listening, maybe you could answer maybe a couple of questions, along those lines, that if it is you're married, like if it is, like you say to yourself, well, all right, I want to get this relationship to work. I forgive him and everything. Like what that conversation was like. Like, does he do things to ensure that you feel secure in the relationship or not? I don't know if that makes sense, Onika.
Yeah, of course, of course. This is just me, and it might be a little rough and harsh, and but if I am courting somebody and they cheat on me, I done immediately. I done.
Amen.
I done.
Yeah.
There's no coming back from that. Marriage is different, right? But dating, courting, if it's full out cheat, like you had sex with somebody while you're with me and we in a courtship, that's the end. That's the end. I'm sorry. Yeah. You just, big red flag. You can't be faithful with, in our day, in the time when you're supposed to be in the most in love and passionate with me and you going with somebody else. Come now, what go happen when I have a first child and I'm looking like a cow and I can't have sex? You know what I mean? If you couldn't, I just didn't really know. If you couldn't keep yourself in those days, I done. That would have been it for me. I'm sorry. But
yeah, but the man could be truly repentant to the Knicks and say, well, when we realize he really
you're good for some other woman.
He was not
a girl. Yeah, not me.
I understand what you say, but I don't believe. I believe I could still work if the man really.
I know. That's why I said it's my personal thing. I don't want that over my head.
If a female do me that too, I good.
Yeah,
like we like that, and someone she do me that, I good, because
I'd be good too. I don't mean that it can't work still now. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. But yeah, I done too.
Okay.
You get Sally.
Great. Okay. So along the same lines, and we could probably start with Philip because we haven't heard Philip in a little while, but somebody is saying, why do men cheat? And then they deny it even when you have proof. But I think maybe why do men cheat? If you all want to touch on that really quick. Then we have a next segment, a next set of questions. Yeah.
So I just want to ask something. Men do cheat, or men do cheat as well, right? It's both.
No problem.
The main reason for our man cheating.
Philip, Chris, sorry, yeah.
Sorry, I bad. Yeah.
Chris,
Sorry.
Well, just to go back to one of the first questions, right? When we talk about why a man does watch a woman when they were the woman in the grocery or whatever the situation, it really goes down to lust. It's a desire that you have in your heart, and it is not quenched by just having a girlfriend, right? So even me, I grew up, and I don't want to set out my fires, but I grew up seeing like family members, I'll put it that way. I'm really not talking about me, right? I just want to call the family member. And you grow up with the family members, and what you see as an example as a man, they're doing, and then you hear your friends, because they have friends who go to school, and how guys think, some guys, is that numbers, they're splitting numbers game, right? They want to believe that when I grow up, my count for how much girls I slept with must be, high.
Yeah.
So fellas go, so fellas go at a kind of competition. When you're young, when you get older, things probably just change sometimes, right? But when you're young, you try to go at a competition. That's one area, right? So that's one way it can happen, where you just doing this thing because, you're like with the boys and you want to say, boy, I better than you, and whatever the case may be. It also goes down to being addicted to just lustful things. You're watching porn right through, so there is something in you that has to be satisfied, and sex only satisfies for so long, right? And you do get tired of people if your mind is bombarded with sexual things, right? Because you want to try something different, you want to do something different, you want a different experience. And it's just like smoking, drinking, whatever, it's an addiction. So you might start out drinking beer and then you move to rum, might start out smoking weed, you go to, and it's the same thing with women. It's an addiction we have in our lives as men. If there's lust in there, that you can't just be satisfied with just one woman or a girlfriend. So you might have a girlfriend, somebody that you really love, but you still might have sex on the outside, but you'll never leave this person. And it's just because that there is something in your life that is missing, and it's a demonic spirit, right? Let me be real. And you think you have control over it, but you really do not have control over it. Yeah, and that's what I would say. You know, it's just an addiction. It's addiction.
Okay, great. Okay, well, if nobody has anything to add to that, I will
must
move
nothing to
on.
add to that.
Okay. So we have a couple random questions, but is paying attention to your spouse's Facebook friends invading his privacy? Kyle, you're on mute.
Your mic mute, Kyle.
I say, what do you mean, like peanut, like looking at his friend list and seeing like who you have as friend?
Yeah, I guess. But my
Was
question
she
would
asking
be,
if she should do it or not?
yeah, if that's invading his privacy, but I would want to know, like, you know, why.
I don't even consider that as privacy because that's like a public thing. You can see with your friends and
Not privacy. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously some men just block their friends and thing, right? But yeah, like public information.
I guess you're more thinking about like the messages. I don't think it will be just
okay.
It will be the messages.
No, believe it or not, if some men, Philip, will put that on a woman and make she feel like 1 minute, like you watching my friend list. That's my business. You know where I'm coming from? And they'll actually make a woman feel guilty for even questioning like who's that girl, you know, that kind of way. And now you're like, who's that girl in here? You think me like this, you know, who's this person now added? And they were like, why you all up in my business? Some men really move like that, where they feel, well, like, you know, like, what's man? This is my territory, and they'll be coming close to this, and it's like this dominant thing they feel you need to have in a relationship, you know, but that's how we're thinking. But yes, like the text and thing.
Text messages, yeah.
Yeah, text messages. And
that's what I'm saying, Tyler. That's the question really, actually. Not so much the person profile, it's the messages the person really watching. So is that an invasion of the privacy? Well, to me, I would say no, because my phone already locked on thing, right? I think it should be open. I think it should have an open relationship in terms like that. But if it's a Mac one, you just really want to watch.
We don't believe in open relationships, Philip.
All right. Sorry. All right. Open cell phone relationships. Yeah, but if you just want to be snooping around every single message and thing, well, then it can really be an issue with insecurity or trust issues that you may have. You know, but I see no problem in watching somebody's phone and going through the messages. You know, I see no problem with it. Right, Chris?
I think if you have nothing, listen, if you have nothing to hide, right?
Are they in, Chris?
Chris, I think your audio giving trouble, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. All right. For instance, if I have nothing to hide, what's the problem with going to my phone? You know, one thing going to my phone, if you actually go and look at messages that I have people sending me on Facebook, right? I don't have anything to hide. So that thing no matter. Because my wife has to go through my phone, I have to go through her phone like normal, it doesn't matter, right? And invasion of privacy. Now this I talk from a point of marriage here, not boyfriend and girlfriend. It's kind of similar, but marriage is different, right? There's nothing on my phone that my wife can't see. Absolutely nothing. And vice versa, right? On Facebook, wherever, Instagram, wherever it is, right? Nothing. So, you know, if she go on my phone and she see a message, right, from somebody, let's say from a strange person, or she might just say, hey, who messaging in here? She might say, who's this message? If she don't know the person, if she don't know who it is, right? And if I look at the message and I say, okay, that is so and so, I even know how come they're messaging me, whatever, that is the end of that done, right? Now, if you getting, now the reality is when I go down that road of watching people's phone and checking your husband's phone or your spouse or your friend, whoever, your boyfriend, girlfriend, watching their messages, right? That is a trust problem, obviously. It's an insecure problem. So you don't trust that person, so you're going through their phone to see the messages and stuff. You know, it's not a problem for me, but I understand why somebody might say, hey, I don't really like that, I guess, that point, you know, because like it's almost like you're saying you don't trust me. So, you know, because of that, because I feel they don't trust me, right? You shouldn't do that now. You should trust me and come to me. Or if you feel you want to see my phone, I can come and show it to you, but don't pick up my phone and secretly go in the back, or you're hiding and you're looking through, you're hiding, you go inside in some back room or in some closet to go and go through my messages. You know what I mean? That's craziness. That's an insecure problem. Insecurity as well as not only trust and insecurity, but it's just I think it's a self-esteem thing too as well. No? You know, you had to know who you're with. You had to know your husband, you had to know your wife, you had to know and say, listen, I know you ain't going down that road, I know they're not on anything. And you're free to do whatever you want, you're free to go to my phone. But if you hide in to go and see, that's create a whole different, that whole new world you're creating. I think that's problems. You know? I think that's problems.
So Celeste, I see they're asking, how do you deal with when she starts questioning who the females are or why they're liking all your pictures or why they send certain type of messages? Like how you guys actually deal with that? So
take it away, Kyle.
How do you deal with when she starts? Is that man asking this question?
Well, men not supposed to be here. So
Because this sound like
don't answer it.
this sound like a man asking from, you know, with the woman, like, you know, that
Yeah,
is
There's
what I
no
question.
forum for that.
Give him
So,
blind, give him
sorry.
Or she's saying it's a woman. She's saying it's a female. Also, what do you mean? Like how do you deal with when she starts questioning who the females are or why? So I don't know if you're posting it to me, like if it is like somebody asking me all these questions. To be honest, capital P, I will not I'll be I'm engaged right now, right? And I personally do have a circle of women outside of the people that she knows, like as friends and that kind of way, right? Obviously, I'm a nieces, my family, different kind of thing like that, right? Might be, you know, girl, and to be honest, if I really value her and I love her, and if when we get married, I value her more than, so if it is she has to reach that point to ask me this, right? Who's this girl? And she feeling uncomfortable and that kind of way, right? Personally, me, I would just delete the person. If it is she feeling a certain way, like it may be like a certain how. Not because I thinking she insecure, because I don't think she's that way, right? Because sometimes some women could see a woman behaving. Sometimes men, that's personally how I would interpret it. Because I know I'm not with necessarily an insecure woman. You know, sometimes a woman could see what another woman doing and what she are posting up and different thing, and you could just be like a clown getting inboxes and questions, and you think you helping and talking, and she see your phone and realizing, hey, you know this girl trying to, and I might balance and say, well, all right, cool, like I realize, and I might listen to her and say, well, cool, I could just, you know, I go listen to her, and that's how personally I would deal with it. That's the kind of relationship I have with my fiance right now, that I feel comfortable enough that if she have an input and she says so the case, I would say, all right, cool, move on from that, because that in my thinking and my mind, I'm not trying to pull no smalls with no girl. I'm not trying to be, and I personally do have no attachment to anybody in that kind of way. But now, let's say she did have a problem with Celeste, and why Celeste messaging me 2:00 in the morning, and I would just message Celeste and say, sister, stop messaging me at 2:00 in the morning. I had to answer questions that I don't really want to be answering. So, you know, that, and Celeste should be my friend enough. If that's some so-called friend, she should understand, well, that is the situation I'm playing off, and we cool and we moving on. And I think that is how we should have like a healthy relationship in that way. I do think it's necessary sometimes. Like if somebody have an issue with something, it's not a big problem, because at the end of the day, it's really a relationship you're working on, and everybody have a give and take. If it is, you know, because I know my fiance not like that, but if she had like certain insecurities, I know I would have to put up with that. You understand? I know I would have to put up when somebody message. She might think, well, there's some woman messaging me here, and I know I had to be a little more transparent, I had to be to cater for those things, and it's if I willing to deal with that. You understand where I'm coming from, right? But I don't know if that can answer your question. If sometimes a woman do this, and I obviously it could be a little, you know, like a little more nagging if it is right through the person. questioning every motive and different thing like that. I could see that for somebody else who really thinking much, man, I'm not on nothing here this already day. Like if it is he, he might feel, well, what's going on here in an insecure way. So I think it's important for you to watch how you bring up the conversations with them. So if it is you just jealous because you're talking to somebody else, you want to figure it out in yourself. But if it is you genuinely seeing this girl like half on half naked clothes and you want to question the person, like why it is you have this person as your friend, I think you and your right to ask that question, because you and your right to also check him to say, watch me, these the kind of girls you have on your post, your Facebook and your contact, and you and your right to also ask those questions,
Yeah. Well, Kyle P, she said, so what if he goes into defense mode when you do that? Like, what should you do? So if he
defense mode,
starts to get defense, like you say, who's this girl? And he starts to say, why again? And so, you always have an issue. Defensive.
I think you reason with him. You don't go into the emotional state, but you could get a little reasonable and say, you, like Unika said earlier, everything requires some soft skills and some tact, and how you're asking a question. It could be, and you maybe take a little step back from the conversation if you're going in defense mode. And I'll be honest with you guys, right? You have to know the relationship you're in. If this is like a thing with the person, you have to realize if you want to put up with that in a relationship to begin with. But if you're married, you have to realize what you're dealing with and how to have some tact in how you bring across those things. But if it is you dealing with all these things and it's a problem in a relationship together with for some time, you had these. Boy, to be honest with you, it was in the opposite shoe. And I find, she having all kind of weird questions, she tolerating a lot of things, and I can't ask a question about that. I would make a decision there and then about the relationship. That's just me personally. If it is I really have this committed relationship and you can't even answer me a question, like why this person messaging you and thing like that, I good. Because for me, that's a core part of a relationship. Trust and respect and different things like that. That's a real important part.
Okay. Great. So it's getting really late. There was a lot of valuable information that was shared. I have one more question, right? I know we didn't get into all the questions, ladies. Maybe in the future we will invite them again, but there was so much great stuff shared tonight, right? So the last area, because it's 2 questions kind of, that we will touch on before we wrap up. So 2 people kind of asked the same thing, right? But I'll try and join it together. Somebody said, how does a man know when it's time to settle down? What does he look for in life before making that step? And then somebody else asked, is it necessarily a bad thing if a guy wants to marry right away? What is a reasonable time frame that a guy should take before making that step? So if you want, I could read it separately, or if you, yeah.
You go ahead, Philip.
Yeah, Philip, we have to hear from you some more.
That is a married question and an engaged question. I don't know.
Okay, I'll read the first one. How does a man know when it's time to settle down?
I don't know, Mark.
You understand what I'm saying? That's not a question for me.
But you must know how you will know when you're ready to settle down.
Philip say he's not ready to settle down. That's basically what he's saying.
You don't know. If you're ready.
Well, all right. So for me, when that time comes, when I'll be ready to settle down, boy, I honestly, let me tell you all, for me, I don't think it will take long, right? So I probably should answer the second question. But I'll just answer in general. I don't think it will take long for me in sense of, I think when I'm ready, I'll just be ready. So I wouldn't be looking for games. I think the longest time it might take for me is just to know if I think I'm compatible with this woman. I think if I see in my life with her, right? I'm not old, right? But I'm getting young in age. So I really look young. So I really truly believe that what do I look for in a girl? Or what would I look for in myself, right? So I'm already a bachelor, which is good. So I learn how to live by myself. I'll obviously want to put finances in order, right? I definitely will not go into a marriage and be living on check to check, right? I will have to put some kind of things in place in that area. Yeah, I kind of really didn't study to know.
Okay.
I
That's
like
okay.
to
It's
know,
okay.
but I think I will just know when I'm ready. I think fellas different. I will not go into a relationship wondering if I want to spend the rest of my life with this person. I think I'll know it in the early stages. And I think I will go for it probably within a year and just try it and see. Right? If it don't work out, but I'll wait. Because if I love the person, I'll wait, right? But I think that's what will happen to me, I believe. Right? It won't be long. It won't be overthinking. I'll pray a lot about it. So I hope you all pray about it. The person had to be showing that interest and value in me. Vice versa, I had to be doing the same thing. It had to be a person where I could really feel connected to, where I I could get emotional with. I'm not an emotional person for anybody on the call, right? But if I could get emotional with the person, probably that would be the person. So I think once I could open up to that person, it wouldn't be long. Yeah.
Nice.
I done. Yes. I thought the single questions was for the single person, eh? That's let me all know.
You go ahead, Chris.
What's the second question, Celeste?
Okay, let me pull it up. The questions is basically, it's saying, how does a man know when it's time to settle down, or I guess when he's ready? Is it a bad thing if a guy wants to get married right away? What does he look for in his life before making that step?
Well, I don't think it's a bad thing for a man to get married right away if you know this is the person for you. Oh, yes, know this is the person for you, right? That's a question I can answer. But what I could tell you is that one thing you had to know for sure is that you had to be
Chris,
in
I
love with.
thought you was going to help me there, Chris. I thought you was going to help me.
Kyle is the expressive one. Kyle is the emotional one. So he will help us.
I am emotional too, but I'm not very, very, I don't show my emotions like that. Only my wife sees it. She sees it at times, but not often, but she does see it, you know? I would say that you'd really have to know, listen, this person, like what Philip said, we compatible one, because they don't really have a time to know when you're marrying somebody. They don't really have a time for that to know. When I say don't have a time, meaning that when I got married, I wasn't ready for it. I got married and I was not ready for marriage, right? And I think a lot of people got married and wasn't ready for it, right? So, I would say knowing the time is being in a place where this person is saying, you know what, here happening. This person is somebody I could live my life with. This person is somebody that I could see myself getting old with, right? When you go into a marriage, you're going into that is a full-time thing. It's not a halfway or half-time thing. It's full, right? And, you don't go into a marriage expecting to divorce or expecting that, they wouldn't work out. If that's how you go into a marriage, just start real bad. You're in a bad part already. Or thinking that, why no long this marriage will last. Yeah? You ain't married the man yet or the woman yet, and you don't know how long the marriage will last. That's a bad way to approach that, So for me, I would simply say, be in love with the person, make sure the person love you and treat you well, respect you, and they honor you, like I was saying earlier, and also that the person they love God, right? They put him first, you are after the man, vice versa. And you just go for it because the time frame, Philip said a year is a good time. You can get married in a year. You can get married in less than a year if you know the person is the right one for you. Less than a year. It could be 6 months. 6 months might be pushing it, but you could go 6 months. A year is a good time. 2 years. Because marriage is a real commitment that you're going in for life, forever. Until they die now. Until death do us part, for richer or for poorer, the vows, right? So it doesn't mean that if things within the marriage, let's say the man lose his job or lost money and say, well, I go and divorce the man, but the man is supplying my needs, so I go and file for divorce. No, that is not how marriages work, right? A marriage is oneness. You only person become one. So all you're the same, right? Yes, you have different personalities, but you're all the same. because of the oneness you all share. And that's why it's so important to know you're getting married to. Because you don't want to marry the wrong person. That could destroy your life. You could destroy your life totally. Marrying somebody who come in with a lot of baggage and a lot of issues, you know, you don't want to get married to that person. I wouldn't say you can't marry them in the future, but you should wait and see, work out things, counseling, different things to help the person if you think it could be helped. But you had to be real cautious when you're getting married. You had to know who this person is already for me, and this is what God has for me. You know, that's what I would say.
Let's rephrase the first question again from I know the second one that, you know, like how long I think that is optional for people, but let me hear the first. Let's rephrase the first one again.
How does a man know when it's time to settle down?
How it's time to settle down? I think firstly, that is linked to brought up. See, like when, you know, like depending on how, if you have a good father in your life and you had a good stable life growing up, most of the times that is the kind of direction your parents would try to drive you, like when it comes to relationships, and you'd have that kind of mindset. So sometimes like at 18, 19, you're already thinking commitment, you're already thinking, because that is the kind of things your parents kind of maybe instill in you because you had like maybe a sense of good brought up. See, so sometimes that might be how, that's how you view life. You know, for me personally, when I was 16, 17, you know, I never wanted to be in a committed relationship. And the reason being is that I had girlfriends from different schools, you know, girls they like, and I never, when I mean girlfriends, I mean girls they like, and you go to this one, you go to this one, because I knew to myself, I could not be in a committed relationship because I wanted to go out with this girl, and I wanted to go out with this girl, and I wanted to go out with this next girl, and I go holy name, I see this girl, I want to get to know this girl. And that was how I was at 16, 17, growing up, right? But deep in my heart, I saw my mother and my father, they had issues, and I saw what happened in their marriage. And I remember at a young age, I told God that I know to myself, I say, I don't want to be in a relationship like that. I don't want to get married one day and end up like that. And that is partially the reason I started to live like that. One of the reasons, as I say, anytime I get a committed relationship, that is what I want for my relationship. So I say to myself, well, watch me. I young. I know when I get no committed relationship, because I understand the problems that's come with it, and I know really to have that commitment. So as I grew up and I matured a little bit, the Lord helped me in my life. And for 10 years, actually, in my life, I didn't have a relationship with any young lady. And there's some people here could, Unika, see how young she know me. She know me for some time now. And for almost 10 years, I did not have a relationship with somebody. One of the reasons being personally for me is that I was evaluating things in my own life. A relationship, to be honest, wasn't something on my mind because I've been there, I done that, and I feel well that was like a toxic pool. And I feel the next relationship I wanted to go in, it had to be something where it had to be better than the past. It had to be something better than what I'm looking forward to. So for me personally, when it is I was ready enough, is when it is I made certain decisions, and I said this. I wanted to be in a committed relationship, somebody who I could trust. Because before that was necessary, because before I just be honest with you, all right, you're just thinking carnal, you're just thinking, yeah, I guess somebody to go out with, maybe slackness is this, and you're not necessarily thinking commitment. If you break up, thing is going. So one of the first signs for me as a guy, right, to help the ladies, right, is one of the first things for me, because even though the question that way, I would like to just angle it a different way, right, that for me personally, I needed to see some kind of commitment in the person's life, like where I could trust them. Like somebody who actually, they stick to something and I could see a follow through in their life for some time. Because I was a little transparent myself to know this. When I meet somebody, I don't expect them to be in a committed relationship to me. You all understand that, right? I expect them to be committed. I expected them to be growing to get to know each other, and we, you know, if they want to break up with me, they could, because they don't owe me that. They get to know me, they get to do this, and we build a relationship, and it's not like we married or any kind of thing like that, right? But so for me to evaluate that, I had to see in my fiance life that she had some kind of other pathway in her life, that there was some kind of commitment. So one of the things I think for myself, for a guy or anybody, one of the things that should look in somebody's life is if they are committed to anything in their life. That in their life, they have some kind of commitment that they stick to. That things in their life you could see as time progress. It could be anything, but something in their life they stick to in the long run for some time. That you could see that they went through trials, they went through different things, and you realize to some degree they stuck with it. That is actually one of the first signs that somebody ready to actually be in a relationship. Because believe it or not, school, all those things cannot compare to all the troubles a relationship had to bring, all the ups and downs that sometimes life would bring. And one of the things you honestly want, if you're a young lady listening to, is somebody as a guy who could be committed in his life, that somebody who he could stick to something. Because obviously everybody had their flaws, so I'm not trying to paint a picture here where everybody going to be the perfect person. But there must be some core values in the person life you must be looking for. And one of the things that for me, for being ready for me personally, was I started to think on that kind of level. I wasn't thinking, well, I meet somebody and his boyfriend, girlfriend, and and then we got line. All that is part of a relationship. We had fun. It was things that was deep and emotionally, and I was thinking on that level. So it's important to know that when it is talking to somebody, the level where they're at, where they're thinking in their mindset, is for both parties. I'll give an example, right? When I was younger, that's actually how my old past relationship ended. I was with somebody who was younger than me, like 4 years younger, and she finished school, she different things. But at that time in life, I was like maybe more serious. I wanted to have a relationship. But she young, she wanted to enjoy herself, she wanted to enjoy life, and it actually brought her issue in the relationship. And I accepted then that she young and she want to live her life and do different things. And I had to accept, well, I can't be in a relationship with this person. And it actually we end up breaking up because I realized that is the case. And I think it's important for you women out there to look at people, because practically a lot of men make those decisions when they get older. Because men have to, like Philip say, he want to organize his finances, he want to organize certain things in his life. And sometimes that might be when the person is quite 28, 29, and that is the mindset sometimes they have when they reach that age. When they're younger, they understand that, so you had to see if somebody willing to walk that journey with you, or if it is the inner part. And like I tell you, that does only come from two places. They brought up, like if it is they brought up in that kind of way where they had to be committed and they build in life in that kind of way, or if they have issues growing up. So I think you had to be able to be transparent and look at those things. I don't know if that kind of answers some things, Zonika. Oh, okay. Yeah. Plenty things. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, great. So well, that was the last question. That was the last thing. I thought we should ask. We have a few other stuff, but guys, if you really have a burning question, please feel free to reach out to Onika if there's some situation you really, really need advice on, and hopefully we'll do this again sometime in the future. Yeah, Ayana says thanks for your honesty. You guys were honest and we really do appreciate that. It was really, really good. A lot of valuable information. So thanks, Kyle, Chris, Philip. Nix, you have anything you wanted to add? Any final words?
No, I mean, these guys went into a lot of details and they were honest. Yeah, so no, I mean.
I wanted to ask Chris a question, Onika, but maybe next time we could do that. I wanted to ask Chris this, right? Sometimes women know like what to attract a man. But I would like to know how it is you keep a man. Yeah. Like how you keep a relationship. Yeah, like for all the women listening, right? Sometimes I need to put on the makeup, I need to look good. But ain't that not gonna last in a relationship, right? So maybe I wanted to ask you maybe two things that would actually keep a man in a relationship, that would keep you in the relationship invested, and that the woman would know that this is what is really important. This is where you really need to work on in a relationship, because like we all say, the beauty does fade, right? So there must have some kind of substance after that, right?
Good cooking.
So I said, but main thing, good cooking is one, but it's not the main. And listen, my wife could really cook. Yeah, why tell her, guys? She couldn't cook when she was younger, but now she's a boss, right? She's a boss. Right? One of the main, oh Lord, boys, I just been distracted. Kyle, repeat that question again. Where's
two things women could work on that will be able to keep their relationship?
To work on, yeah, right.
That they'll say, right, this will keep the relationship, yeah.
Main thing, I think the main thing to keep the relationship, one is one of the main ones. The main one I think is respecting your husband, right? Also, just respect. Now, when I say respect, you say, don't watch your husband shout up and ball up at your husband, try to embarrass your husband and things like that, right? Or even right, in a courtship. You don't shout up at your insult him and these kind of things. No, you don't do that. Right? Even when they get angry, you could be angry and it don't have to be insultive. You can be angry and you don't have to shout and cuss something and be disrespectful to your husband or your boyfriend or whoever. That's one. The next thing is that you want why being really keeps the marriage, right? Is Jesus, God. God keeps your marriage. Because if we rely on our own ability to keep our marriage, right? That's why we have so much divorce going wrong right now in the world. Jesus is the one, once Jesus is behind your marriage, once you see make that covenant with your wife and God, so when you do these vows, right? When they get married, you're making a covenant with God as well. And with that covenant now, that helps because when he is involved in your marriage, you find that the things that are issues in your life, in your marriage, yes, they will have it, but somehow you're able to deal with it faster. You're able to deal with it better. You find the result coming faster because you know why? Listen, have humility here. You know, this person receive what they're saying, your wife receive, your husband receive it, they're humbling. Because you know at the end of the day, listen, right? When you love somebody and you're in love with a person, right? You will go all out to please them. You will try your best to please, right? You really don't want to cause too much conflict, although conflicts will come, it may come, right? But our rule really is to say, you know what, here happening. This is what I want from my wife. This is what I want. I want respect. I want her to love me. And I want her to support me. I want her to be on my side. You be with me. I want you there sometimes, but you don't necessarily have to be there. You understand what I'm saying? I want you wrong, but don't have to be always wrong. You don't want somebody to stick up on there all the time. You don't want a clingy person. But you want somebody who you could go miles away from me. You could be quite in Europe. And I know what my wife in Europe there, she's doing whatever, she's working, whatever she's doing. I know nothing is going to happen there. She coming straight back here and the love is still there. You understand? So trust is a big part as well. Trust, right? And respect is the two foundations in our marriage. The two key things, I believe. The basics is basics. Yeah?
Cool.
All right. So that's it, guys. We have raven reviews in the comments. All these ladies really appreciate everything you all shared. Yeah, they're really impressed with you guys. Well done. So thanks so much, y'all. We will invite you all back again in the near future. And I hope you guys will be willing to come again. So everyone, we're wrapping up. Thanks to everyone who joined us and who stayed with us for so long. And thanks for all of your questions. I'm keeping all the extra questions, so don't worry, we will address them at some point. And you guys have a great night, a wonderful week, and we'll be back here next week, Monday. Invite a friend, okay? Good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.